lot of damage. The Banshee picking away at the units without any sort of anti-air here. He can't move the Spore and picks it up. And we do have 11 workers killed now, so about 10 killed in that attack. And I'd say that ended up being worth it for MattFT. That is a hard call, though, in terms of whether or not that does work out for the mech player, because he did lose a lot of his army, and normally that can be a death blow to the very slow building mech army. It takes quite a while to build up that supply. However, he did kill a lot of expensive units, and the Zerg doesn't have a huge bank at this point, so it's not as if the Zerg can reinforce particularly quickly either. So I don't mind MattFT's position. What he does need, though, is to get a 4th base. Now, this base here is creep, but we are going to have the expansion out here to the middle, which is really the expansion that the Terran player wants to take. He has an immobile mech force. He wants to take the center. He wants the Zerg to attack into him. It makes it much easier. Now, if we actually look at what the composition is, though, we strictly have Thor, Hellion, and a couple Banshees mixed in. No tanks whatsoever. So we do have a lot of Infestors coming out, and if you don't have any tank support against these Thors, Neural Parasite becomes very effective. We saw an attempt in the earlier attack to use Neural Parasite, but there wasn't any sort of buffer left over for the Infestors. The Infestors closed in too close, and the tanks of Thors were easily able to pick them off. Looks like this base here in the center for the Zerg will have to be cancelled. Does not cancel. They're going to engage anyway. The wings just melt. Not the best engagement initially, but in comes the attack with the Ultralisk and the Infestors. There's the Neural Parasite I was talking about. No tanks to deal with the Infestors, and this will get cleaned up, and now a Meching Terror player. That definitely hurt. Supplies, again, rather even, but now the Zerg player has a bank. Our Terran player does not, and it's going to take a while to rebuild all of those expensive units. Now, MRage is not in a position right now to switch immediately into Broodlord, which could be an instant win right there without any sort of serious anti-air production aside from Thors. In comes the attack. Neural Parasite doing a ton of damage once again, and the units just aren't there for the Terran player anymore. This base here in the center is going to be forced to lift off. And MRage getting a lot of damage done with what looks to be a relatively small army. He's not working with huge supply, but is going to reinforce now with 6 Ultralisks. So that is going to be a very difficult force to deal with to our supply-limited Terran player here at 123. Almost picks off his base here at the 30th, forced to lift. We'll need a repair on that if he doesn't want it to burn down. So look at the number of units on the field. 5 Thors, 9 Hellions, 1 Viking. Up against 2 Ultralisks, 7 Zerglings, 10 Infestors, but 6 more Ultras about to pop out. Here we go. Now we do have the Hellion run by up here at the top left. The drones do bury, but there is a scan there. The problem here is, normally, yes, you want to trade Hellions for minerals as Terran. So this may work out depending on how many drones he's able to kill. He did very well there, but he does not have the bank economy or supply right now to really be trading units for economy. However, he does get a lot done, so it's going to be hard to fault him for that move. He brings it down to 47 drones. So I will say that is a win. But what can Zerg do now that he prepares to move in for another attack? He has quite a lot of Ultras. He has a bunch of Infestors out. How many Infestors right now? 10 Infestors on the field. The Greater Spire is closing in on completion at this point. And there is just a bit of a lull in the action at this point as both sides try and build up their army to go in for another attack. The Terran player right now, MattFT, he really needs to secure another base. He is going to try and push out and take this base in the center once again. 2 tanks being built, 2 Thors. If we look at his production, though, we have a single starport with Tech Lab. That is it in terms of starport production, and that is what's going to make this Broodlord switch so incredibly powerful. Sure, the Thors have good anti-air, but it's the goodness of it is in its area of effect, which Broodlords can clump, but typically not against mech, and no bonus damage against light. No bonus damage against armored for Thors. That's against light, so it takes a very long time for those Thors to take down Broodlords. And between that and a huge Ultralisk force on the ground, I think it's looking very good for our UWindsor player. We'll have to see how this plays out. The upgrades right now, 3-2 for our mech player. We have 3-3 on the ground for UwinMRage. In terms of the air, we do have +1 air attack, and we do have +1 care pace closing in on completion. 7 Broodlords morphing, and when these finish, expect to see a push out from our Zerg player. And this, I think, will decide the game. We've got several tanks out which are just not going to do the trick. Now, something I see a lot of the time is having these sieged up tanks when a bunch of Ultralisks are moving in. Siege tanks in siege mode aren't very good against Ultras because the splash doesn't work. They're too big. They're not clumped up because they're huge. But unsieged tanks do a lot of DPS against a single target, particularly an armored target. Now we do have another run by up here in the upper left. Going to be able to do quite a lot of damage once again. A scan, even though there wasn't any sort of burrow even attempted. Kills off a bunch more drones. 52 now killed. Takes the lead in that regard. 55 drones versus 43 SCVs though. We do have quite a lot of orbitals on the field for MattFT though, so it's not as if he's lacking for a mineral economy too much with all of these mules going down. We'll see that spike up in just a second. As well, he is still going on a 3-base gas economy, so he's doing pretty well there too. But here comes the death push. We got Broodlords, we got Ultralisks, we've got Infestors. He really should be spreading out these Broodlords to minimize the effect of the AoE on and splash range of MattFT's Thors, but I don't think it's going to matter. Here comes the attack, and the Infestor's not even going to push in though, so not the best engagement. And then pulls back once again. He's overestimating the push in there, and the Infestor's doing absolutely nothing in that battle, makes it go very one way. And now it's going to be turned back around on UwinMRage, not engaging that properly, and going to be in a lot of trouble. We have a lot of Thors. He's closing in on a max again, and our Zerg player is going to have to use up his bank to remax. Quite a lot of Zerglings pushing out into the middle of the map, though. So that's what he's spending his larva on. And going to morph in nothing but Banelings! 88 Banelings coming! Oh man, 88 Banelings. We have 9 tanks on the field, 10 Thors. Do we have Baneling speed? Do we have Baneling speed? I hope, okay, we have Baneling speed. Oh my god, he's only moving in with half of them. Oh god, he's burrowing the Banelings! He's burrowing the Banelings! This is what I call an all-in. It may not be in the traditional SC2 sense, but this is very much in the poker sense. He's taking all his chips, he's betting them all on these Banelings, burrowing them right in that choke. He's going to try and draw in his opponent's army, but MattFT is moving around. He's going up here. He's not going through the center, and he's going to relocate these Banelings. He's going to take out this base. It's 194 supply against a decreasing Zerg supply, though he does have a reasonable bank of 2,000, 1,500. The Banelings! The Banelings! Move in! The Banelings! The Banelings! Is you win this? Is you win MRage ST? Is he ST? I think he is! And that's the game, GG! Banelings!